Chapter 1797, 10 Demon Gods. Probaja, Vladimir, and Aliyev sat in their warm and comfortable office, clinking glasses in celebration of Fremon's recent great achievement. In the image projected onto the large screen, Jussenberg had successfully cut down the huge mechanical life form. Its huge body collapsed with a loud noise, like a hapless giant. "This is Fremon's victory," Vladimir said. "What mechanical civilization? I don't think it's that impressive." Aliyev reminded him, "Don't forget, we lost at Karen City before. We must always remain vigilant." Vladimir took a drag on his cigar and said indifferently, "That time we were unprepared. But now that I think about it, it was only because we were ambushed that we found the enemy so fearsome." He pointed his cigar holder finger at the screen. "Just as in the beginning, we also thought that this super-large mechanical life form was impossible to break through. But now, we have been able to easily take it down." Probaja nodded in agreement. "To put it bluntly, it is just some machinery. Things that move according to fixed procedures can be easily defeated with the use of human intelligence." The three men's faces were relaxed with smiles. And Jussenberg also received Probaja's command. "Jussenberg, go and take the source of the giant mechanical life form now. That's the most valuable thing." Jussenberg smiled and replied, "Okay. But I don't think one is enough for research, so when will you assign me a new task? How about today?" He slung his double swords over his back, as he had just won a giant monster, and his self-confidence was soaring. "I feel like I can fight again." Probaja laughed and said, "Don't worry. If there's a good opportunity, it will definitely be reserved for you." The two men had a chatty conversation, but in the middle of the screen, Jussenberg's face suddenly changed. Probaja saw this and asked curiously, "What's wrong?" Jussenberg turned the screen around. Is it that kind of guy?" As a result, the Probaja trio clearly saw everything from Jussenberg's perspective. It was a dark humanoid creature. He was only 3 to 4 meters tall, and was shrouded in a black robe made of a special material that did not reflect light. If you just looked at him, he looked like a tall mutant. But the features that proved he was not human, and might not even be carbon-based, were his 2 metallic arms with the oddly shaped blades attached to them, and the huge tail on his back that was as long as his entire body. Language was extremely limited at this time, and Jussenberg and the others were unable to describe it using any known creatures. This black humanoid creature appeared extremely suddenly, and Jussenberg never noticed its presence from beginning to end. The huge tail was raised from behind like a scorpion, high above his back, and the tip of the curved blade was as sharp as a crab's claw, covered in black blades. However, both the tail on his back and the strange blade in his hand were inlaid with dark red gem-like substances. The moment he appeared, Probaja's face suddenly turned pale. "Jussenberg, get out of there." But it was too late. All they could see in the camera was the black humanoid creature raise the black blade in its hand and slash down with a single stroke. And the image from Jussenberg instantly went black. The Probaja trio panicked. How could this happen? Why did those scary guys suddenly appear? This shouldn't be happening. Why didn't some other team of mutants from another country encounter him? Damn it, really damn it. I hope Jussenberg can defeat him. Are you crazy? Have you forgotten how terrifying those guys are? Even Morana had to flee when she faced them. Probaja clenched his fists and looked indignant. He couldn't understand why such bad luck had fallen on Jussenberg. He was one of the mainstays of the Pantheon. His future was infinite. If he died in battle, it would be an unbearable loss for Fremons today. Aliyev stood up and said decisively, "Send someone to Alto City to support Jussenberg immediately." Vladimir folded his arms and said with a grave face, "But who should go? You know how terrifying those guys are. Sending ordinary mutant troops there's just a waste of lives." Aliyev said with bulging eyes, "Morana must stay here to protect our safety. So send mutant troops from other countries." Vladimir said in a low voice, "It takes 40 minutes at the fastest to get from here to Alto City. It's simply not enough time." No, there is a mutant unit closest to them on a mission. It's Brahma's team, they can be sent to help. But it will take them at least 20 minutes to get there. 20 minutes was more than enough time to end a battle. They had lost contact with Jussenberg, which meant the battle was going very badly. At this moment, Prodaja suddenly thought of someone. Only he could quickly rush to the battlefield at such a time to rescue Jussenberg. Let the chaos of the Huashu kingdom pass. He is a mutant with space abilities and can rush to Alto City in the shortest time. Time waits for no man, so he immediately dialed Zhang Yi's communication channel. Zhang Yi couldn't help but raise an eyebrow when he saw it was Prodaja. As the saying goes, nothing comes from nothing. The relationship between him and Prodaja is not good at the moment, and this guy is definitely up to no good. But Zhang Yi still connected the communication. Mr. Prodaja, what is it? Zhang Yi's words were interrupted by Prodaja's urgent voice. Mr. Chaos, there is a very urgent task that needs to be done. Please set off immediately. Seeing Prodaja in such a hurry, Zhang Yi froze for a moment, then the corner of his mouth lifted. Oh? I didn't think after all this time, Mr. Prodaja would remember us. I just wonder what kind of task it is. I'm afraid if it's a good thing, it won't be so easy to land on our heads. Zhang Yi leaned back on the sofa, his tone incredibly lazy. Prodaja was extremely anxious at this time, and Zhang Yi's attitude made him even more furious. But he had to hold back his anger, because they desperately needed Zhang Yi's help right now. He forced a smile and said, Lord Chaos, I apologize if I offended you before. But now our mutant troops are in danger while on a mission. I hope you can go quickly and support them. Facing an attack from mechanical civilization, we humans must stand united. Can we put the past behind us? Zhang Yi heard Prodaja speak so politely and sensed that something was wrong. If it weren't an extremely urgent situation, the powerful mutants from various countries assembled by Fremons could easily resolve it. Therefore, the crisis they were currently facing must be very difficult. And it was precisely because Prodaja had never assigned Zhang Yi and the others combat missions that they were the only powerful top-level combat teams in Samarin. Zhang Yi raised an eyebrow. You're in a hurry, but I'm not. His brows furrowed slightly, and he said with some difficulty, Mr. Prodaja, in principle, we are all allies, and if you're in trouble, I definitely have to help. He changed the subject. However, in this time, we haven't received a single combat mission. Doesn't this just show that you don't think that we're strong enough to take on a combat mission? So I think, for this matter, you should go find other countries' mutant teams. After all, they are more powerful and have experience. The three-person team of Prodaja and the others were about to be outraged. Of course they understood that Zhang Yi was taking revenge for their previous actions. But at the moment, they really did not have a better choice. Mr. Chaos. Prodaja's facial muscles were all twisted, just say what your conditions are. Everyone was a smart person, and time was pressing, so there was no point in beating around the bush. Just saying the conditions directly would save the most time. However, the more anxious they became, the calmer Zhang Yi became. With just a little thought, he understood the whole situation. It must be that Fremons' very important troops were in danger, and only he was capable of providing quick support. But what kind of danger was it that could prevent even Fremons' mutant troops, a world-class military power, from calling in reinforcements? Zhang Yi's mind flashed back to the video material Alexei had given him. His expression became grave, and he stared at Prodaja and said, You must tell me the truth about what kind of terrifying enemy you encountered on the battlefield, which caused all your troops to have difficulty stopping their attack. Otherwise, I will not intervene without knowing the situation. Prodaja knew that he could no longer hide the truth, so he had to say, I will send you the information right away. It was indeed a very difficult enemy to deal with. But with your abilities, you will definitely be able to bring Jussenberg back. Zhang Yi's heart sank even further. He had originally thought that he was being deployed to resolve a crisis. Unexpectedly, Prodaja said that all he had to do was bring back Jussenberg. Didn't that mean that he was convinced that even if Zhang Yi intervened, he would not be able to defeat the target enemy? Even other members of the Krufa unit could give up? Zhang Yi's gaze darkened slightly. After weighing his options, he decided that although he didn't have much information on the mechanical civilization humanoids in his hands, he had seen the video data provided by Alexei. In his judgment, it was hard to say whether they could defeat them, but there was no doubt that they could protect their lives. Very well, I can promise to help you rescue them. But I have one condition. Prodaja gritted his teeth. Name it. Zhang Yi's mouth curled up. From now on, I get 90% of the spoils of war from the Fremon's battlefield. Originally, Zhang Yi had wanted to say 100%. But if that happened, Fremons, which would get nothing in return, would certainly face restrictions in terms of intelligence assistance. After all, no one would do anything without getting anything in return. Prodaja couldn't help but say, Chaos, your appetite is a bit too big, isn't it? Can it be any less? Zhang Yi stared at him. I've been on standby for a whole week, and now my stomach is empty. Besides, Luna Jussenberg, I've heard of this person. A black chariot-level mutant with unlimited potential. I don't need to tell you how valuable he is to you, do I? Prodaja wanted to say something else, but Zhang Yi said directly, we can continue the discussion. I have plenty of time anyway. I just don't know if he does. Prodaja let out a sigh of disappointment. Before Prodaja could say anything, Vladimir rushed over and yelled into the camera, we agree to your demands. Go and rescue the person right now. Zhang Yi didn't know this guy, and looked at Prodaja. I want him to say it. The muscles on Prodaja's face were all twisted. In the end, he gritted his teeth and said, fine, we promise. But you must promise to bring the person back safely. Zhang Yi shrugged, do your best. After the communication was over, Zhang Yi saw that Prodaja had sent over all the information on the battle. This included the specific coordinates of the battlefield, as well as the troops they had sent, and the images captured by the satellite in the area before. And the most crucial piece of information was the information on the humanoid creatures that Fremons had been covering up. Zhang Yi opened that file. What appeared in the file were 10 extremely strange and terrifying figures. They looked almost human, but each had unique biological signs. However, no matter how you looked at them, they all had mechanical structures. It was hard to tell whether they were humanoid mechanical creatures or androids. The Fremons called them the 10 demon gods, which showed just how deeply the Fremons feared them. They were numbered according to the classical Fremons numbering system. Due to translation mechanisms, when converted into Chinese characters that Zhang Yi can understand, they become the heavenly stems and earthly branches. Therefore, the ability codes of these 10 demon gods are A, B, C, D, Wu, Ji, Gung, Xin, Ren, Gui. Ability code, unknown, strength, unknown, but it can be determined that they are at least high-level black chariots, or even bishops. At the end of the intelligence, it kindly reminded the code name of the demon god that appeared in Alto City this time, Gui. Zhang Yi's eyes flashed, but he quickly gathered everyone together and gave a brief explanation of the situation. Yang Xinxin was not at all surprised. The true combatants of the mechanical civilization have finally appeared. They had long suspected that the Mechanical Legion was only an engineering unit, not a combat unit. As humans continued to provoke and destroy their engineering units, the mechanical civilization would surely be angered and launch a direct attack on humans. I'm very interested in that thing. Zhang Yi's eyes flashed with a strange light. Those demons carry a large amount of special energy bodies. The kind of red energy crystals that could only be found in a few pieces even at the source of the giant mechanical life forms were inlaid in large quantities on the bodies of those demons. Zhang Yi's desire to hunt them burned like a flame.